Hello everyone. So our today's topic of discussion is quadrilaterals. We are already done with circles and triangles, and in today's class or in today's video we'll be discussing the basics of quadrilaterals. In this we'll be discussing first of all what is a quadrilateral, how do you calculate area of a quadrilateral. Then we'll move on to different type of quadrilaterals. For example, the first thing that we'll do is parallelogram. Then we'll also understand rectangle, rhombus, square, and then we'll also do a trapezium. In trapezium we'll be doing two types of trapezium. One is a normal one is an isosceles one. So in this video, we'll be covering up all the properties, the formulas, the relationships which you need to know in order to solve a question. All right. So let's get started. The first one is what is a quadrilateral. So let's first understand what exactly is a quadrilateral. So in simple terms, you can define quadrilateral as a polygon with four sides and sum of internal angles equal to 360 degrees, because the formula is simply n minus 2 into 180. So you're going to replace n by 4 because it has 4 sides and it has 4 vertices. So it will be 4 minus 2 into 180, which will come out to be 2 into 180, which is 360 degrees. Okay, so these are the two basic things. This is how we define a quadrilateral. That's it. Okay, now one more thing in quadrilateral which you need to know: if someone asks you to calculate the area, okay, so how do you do that? First is you need to draw either of the two diagonals. So you're gonna draw either BD or AC. It's completely up to you. I'm gonna draw BD, and then from the remaining two vertices, you're gonna drop perpendicular on this diagonal. Like from A, I'm gonna drop this perpendicular, and from C, I'm gonna drop this perpendicular. So you can call this E, you can call this F. So what will become of your area? That will simply be 1 by 2 into length of the diagonal multiplied by sum of the two perpendiculars, that is AE and CF. Now how does this happen? Like from how did I get this area? So that's quite simple. If I have drawn BD, I have basically divided this quadrilateral into two parts. One is DAB, second is DBC, right? Now what is the area of a triangle? That's half into base into height. So if I'm gonna take base to be BD, let's talk about triangle ABD first. So I'm talking about this triangle ABD. If I'm gonna take base to be BD, height is nothing but the perpendicular from the opposite vertex. So what is the height? This is the height, the perpendicular. So it's going to be simply half into base, which is BD, into height, which is AE. Similarly, if you want to calculate the area of triangle BCD, you can do the same thing again. You can consider base to be BD and your height will automatically be CF. So half into BD into CF. Now you can add both of them. So you can take half BD common and it will simply be AE plus CF inside the bracket, and this is how you get area of a quadrilateral. Okay, so this is like the general things which you need to know about quadrilateral. Then any other property is for a specific type of quadrilateral. So for a general quadrilateral, you don't have any other property apart from that it has internal angles equal to 360 degrees. Apart from that, like there is nothing to generalize in this. Alright, let's move on. Now the first type of quadrilateral that you need to understand is a parallelogram. And from here properties become important and you need to know a couple of things in order to solve a question. So first of all, what is a parallelogram? So parallelogram is a quadrilateral whose opposite sides are equal and parallel. opposite sides are equal and parallel. So you can say that AB is equal to CD, AD is equal to BC, and AB is parallel to CD, AD is also parallel to BC. Second thing which you need to remember in a parallelogram, opposite angles in a parallelogram are always equal. That is, angle A is equal to angle C and angle B is equal to angle D. Third thing, sum of the adjacent angles is always equal to 180. That is, angle A plus angle D is 180 and angle B plus angle C is also equal to 180, and likewise you can say for AB also and for DC also. So sum of the adjacent angle always adds up to 180 degrees. Fourth, diagonals of a parallelogram may or may not be equal. That is, if I connect BD and if I connect AC, so it is not necessary for AC to equal to BD. It is not necessary. It may happen, that depends upon the type of parallelogram that you have. For example, in case of rectangle, diagonals are equal. In case of a square, diagonals are equal. In case of a rhombus, diagonals are not equal. They all are parallelograms. Okay, so we can't say that for sure that diagonals are going to be equal. Property number 5, diagonals always bisect each other. Diagonals always bisect each other. So what do I mean by bisect? Here is that bisect basically means that AO is equal to CO and BO is equal to DO, basically dividing it into two equal parts. Okay, bisecting each other does not stand for the fact that AO will be equal to BO. Okay, so each of the diagonals is bisecting the other one. So if BD is bisecting AC, then AO will become CO and BO will become DO. This is basically what it means. Next, diagonals do not necessarily meet at 90 degrees. So diagonals of a parallelogram do not necessarily meet at 90 degrees. That is, it's not necessary for this angle to be 90. It is not necessary. It may happen. It happens in case of a rhombus. It happens in case of a square, but it's not necessary. And the last one, the diagonals may, or let me put this in a better way. The diagonals may not bisect the vertex angle. Diagonals may not bisect the vertex angle. Again, it depends upon the type of parallelogram that you have. For in case of a rhombus and in case of a square, they do bisect. But in case of a rectangle, diagonals may or may not bisect. So this angle it's not necessary will be equal to this angle. Okay, let's call this theta 1. Let's call this theta 2. So it's not necessary that theta 1 will be equal to theta 2. So these are the properties you have to remember for a parallelogram. Alright, let's move on now. If you want to calculate the area of a parallelogram, the formula to calculate the area is pretty simple. That is base times the height. So for example, if I take CD to be my base, I need to have a height. So I'm going to drop a perpendicular either from A or from B onto CD. So this is your height, or you can say this is going to be your height. Now AD, let's call that is equal to some, let's call that width, and let's call AB to be length. So this is also length and this is also W. Now if you're going to concentrate in triangle ADE and triangle BCF, you realize that two of its sides are equal. BC is equal to AD, AE is equal to BF. So you'll also observe that DE has to be equal to CF. Or you can use the Pythagoras theorem in the two triangles to prove that. That is W square is equal to CF square plus H square, and similarly W square is equal to H square plus D square. So you will get DE equals to CF. Okay, you'll simply get D equals to CF. So you'll also realize that the two triangles are basically congruent. They're basically mirror images of each other. Okay, or you can say that they are similar and this ratio of the sides is equal to 1. So if they are similar, that means the corresponding angles have to be equal. So if ADE, I can say triangle ADE is similar to triangle BCF, which means this angle is equal to this angle, which you can prove otherwise also, because I told you that when you talk about the adjacent angles of a parallelogram, they add up to 180, right? So if you're going to take this to be, let's suppose, some angle theta, so this angle will automatically be 180 minus theta, which means this green angle will automatically become theta. Okay, similarly these two angles are also equal. Let's call this alpha, let's call this alpha. I'm just telling you these things because you may have a question in which you need to know these things. If you know these things, you'll be able to solve the question really quickly. That's it, nothing else is the reason. Alright, so these are the things which you need to remember for parallelogram. And yes, if you want to calculate the perimeter, so that's sum of the four sides, that is twice of L plus twice of W. Alright, so these are the things which you need to remember for a parallelogram. Now since I'm saying parallelogram, So these properties will also be true for rectangle, rhombus and square in addition to some changes. Okay, there will be some couple of changes because now we'll be going to specific type of parallelograms like rectangles, rhombus and squares. So couple of things will change, but whatever I have taught you in this, everything will remain more or less the same for the remaining three also. Okay, so let's move on to the next one, that is a rectangle. Okay, yeah, one more thing I almost forgot. In case of a parallelogram, it is not necessary for vertex angle to be 90 degrees. In case of a parallelogram, it is not necessary, let me write it here, not necessary for vertex angle to be 90 degrees. It is not necessary for vertex angle to be 90 degrees. Okay, next is rectangle. Now, when you come from a normal parallelogram to a rectangle, now it is also a type of parallelogram only. So what are the things that changes? Okay, there are two things which changes. First is all vertex angle equals to 90 degrees. This is the first thing. All vertex angles are equal to 90 degrees. Second is the diagonals are always equal. Apart from that, every other property of a parallelogram is the same for rectangle. Diagonals bisect but not at 90 degrees. Diagonals do not bisect the vertex angle, and so on and so forth. These are the only two changes, that's it. So I can say this is 90, this is also 90, this is also 90, and this is also. You can take the longer side to be L and shorter side to be W, and if you want to draw the diagonal, you can connect B with D, and you can use the Pythagoras theorem, and you can use it in either in ABD or BCD, and you'll get this diagonal is equal to under root of L square plus W square. If you want to calculate the area, that is length times the width, and if you want to calculate the perimeter, that is twice of L plus twice of W. That will be twice of L plus twice of W. So these are the changes. Apart from that, everything else is exactly the same. Okay, next one, this is important. You do get questions from rhombus. So it's a parallelogram whose all sides are equal. So it's a parallelogram having all equal sides. This is the first thing. It's a parallelogram having all equal sides. Now it's a parallelogram, so opposite angles have to be equal. So you can say that angle A is equal to C and angle B is equal to angle D. Now, what's more important in case of a rhombus is that, why do they ask so many questions from rhombus, is that there are two properties. First is diagonals are not equal, or let me put it this way, diagonals may or may not be equal. But bisect each other at 90 degrees. This is very important. Diagonals may or may not be equal, but they bisect each other at 90 degrees. That is, so let's do one thing. Let's say that I'm gonna write it here. AC is equal to D1 and BD is equal to D2. Okay, let's say that AC is equal to D1 and BD is equal to D2. So first of all, they will meet at 90. This is 90. Okay, that's the first thing. They will meet at 90 degrees. Also, since the diagonals are bisecting each other, so you can say that AO is equal to CO and BO is equal to DO. Now AO is equal to CO, since AC is equal to D1, so you can say that AO is equal to CO will be D1 by 2 and BO is equal to DO will be equal to D2 by 2. So you can write it here also. Now I told you that rhombus is a parallelogram having all sides equal, so let's take the sides to be A units. So if you use the Pythagoras theorem, use it in any of the four small triangles. I'm going to use it in AOB. You can use it in AOD, COD, COB. It's completely up to you. When you're going to use the Pythagoras theorem, you'll get a relationship that D1 square, D1 by 2 square plus D2 by 2 square is equal to side square. Important relationship. D1 by 2 square plus D2 by 2 square is equal to A square, or which is equal to side square. Okay. Another thing which you need to remember, in this case, the diagonals bisect the vertex angle. In the previous two cases, when we were talking about a normal parallelogram and a rectangle, opposite angles were equal, no doubt in that. But in both the cases, the diagonals were not bisecting the vertex angle, right? In this case, the diagonals are also bisecting the vertex angle. So you can say that this angle, let's call this theta, so this angle will also be equal to theta. This is the difference. Okay, if you want to calculate the area of the rhombus, what you can simply do is you can calculate the area of one triangle and multiply it by 4. So if I talk about the area, if I'm going to calculate the area of this one triangle, it's going to be half d1 by 2 into d2 by 2, which is d1 d2 by 8. And if I calculate for the entire rhombus, that is 4 times d1 d2 by 8, which is d1 d2 by 2. Okay, so these are the things which you need to remember for a rhombus. You can see that if you want to calculate the area of the rhombus, it's using the diagonal. Side has no role to play. If I simply give you a side and if I do not give you anything else, if I simply give you a side, let's suppose I have a rhombus having side 10 centimeters, and if I ask you to calculate the area, you won't be able to do that. I need to give you something more. Either I can give you vertex angles, then you can use trigonometry. or something else is required. Okay, that is why rhombus is so important, because side has very less role to play when you talk about rhombus. Anyways, these are the properties which you need to remember for rhombus. Alright, the next one is a square. Now when both the diagonals of rhombus become equal, or the other way to say is that when all the four sides of rectangle are equal, then it becomes a square. So square is a type of a rhombus, square is also type of a rectangle. Either way you can say it. So it has all sides equal, so A, 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 all vertex angle are 90, 90, 90, 90 and 90. It's gonna have equal diagonals also. So you can say that AC will be equal to BD. The diagonals are gonna bisect each other at 90 also. So call this O, so this will be 90. Okay, diagonals bisect each other at 90. At 90 degrees. And interestingly, diagonals also bisect the vertex angle. So you can go on saying that this angle, if you call this theta, then this will always be theta. Or since it's 90 degrees, why don't you directly write 45 and 45? Let me remove this, let me remove this, let me remove this, let me remove this. So this, if this is 45, this is also 45, this is 45, this is also 45, and so on and so forth. Okay, now let me remove one of the diagonals. If you want to calculate the length of the diagonal, then you can simply use the Pythagoras theorem. So let's say this, I know that angle C is 90, and this is equal to D, so I can say that D square is equal to A square plus A square, and D is equal to root 2A. If you want to calculate the area of a square, so you can either calculate with the help of rectangle, because it's a type of rectangle, so you can multiply A into A, that will become A square. In case of rectangle, we used to do length into width or length into breadth. In this case, the length is A, the breadth is A, or the width is A, so it will simply be A into A, which is A square. If you want to do it with the help of rhombus formula, that is diagonal 1 into diagonal 2 divided by 2. So in this case, both the diagonals are equal. This will become D square by 2. Either way you can do it. So square is like, I feel that it's fairly simple. And out of the four things that we have discussed, that is a normal parallelogram, a rectangle, a rhombus, and a square. Square is the only regular polygon. Okay, out of the four, square is the only regular polygon, because it has all sides equal and all angles equal. In case of rhombus, sides are equal but angles are not. In case of rectangle, angles are equal but sides are not. Okay, this is the difference. Alright, let's move on to the next one, that is a trapezium. Again, now trapezium is a type of quadrilateral, it's not a parallelogram. Now how do you define a trapezium? A trapezium is a quadrilateral whose one pair of opposite sides are parallel, whose one pair of opposite sides are parallel. That is, in this case, the figure that I have drawn on the screen, in this case, I am taking AB to be parallel to CD. Okay, so it's simply a quadrilateral whose one pair of opposite sides are parallel, that's it, nothing else. So if they are parallel, then you can go on saying that angle A plus angle D will be equal to 180 and angle B plus angle C will be equal to 180, because sum of the angles on same side of parallel lines always adds up to 180 degrees. Apart from this, nothing happens in trapezium. Neither diagonals are equal, nor do they bisect, neither the opposite angles are equal, nothing happens. It's simply a quadrilateral, that's it, nothing else. Now if you want to calculate the area, then the formula to calculate the area is half into sum of parallel sides, which is AB plus CD in this case, multiplied by the perpendicular distance between them. Let me call this AE, so this will become AE. So it's half into sum of parallel sides multiplied by the perpendicular distance between them. Okay, so that is all that you need to know for a normal trapezium. Now there's one more type of trapezium, and that is more important. You do get questions from this one. That is an isosceles trapezium. Now what's an isosceles trapezium? Isosceles trapezium is a trapezium in which the non-parallel sides are equal. So apart from AB parallel to CD, you also have AD equals to BC. Okay. Now a lot of things changes because AD is equal to BC. Now let's try and understand them one by one. Now it will still be there that angle A plus angle D will be equal to 180 because angles on same side of parallel lines adds up to 180, and similarly angle B plus angle C will also be equal to 180. Apart from this, in this case, diagonals are equal. Diagonals are equal in length. In case of an isosceles trapezium, diagonals are equal. Now please mind this, diagonals do not bisect each other. They still do not bisect each other. Nor they meet at 90 degree. They are simply equal in length, that's it. Okay, they are equal in length. They do not bisect each other, nor they meet at 90 degrees. Neither do they bisect the vertex angle. Neither do they bisect the vertex angle. They do not do this also. Okay, so let me drop the height so I can do it either from A, I can do it from B also. Let's call this E, let's call this F. Now if the non-parallel sides are equal, So let's call both of them to be A and A. This will become height h, this will also become height h. Now what all can we conclude if I'm going to drop both the perpendiculars? First thing is AB will be equal to EF, because AE and BF are basically perpendicular, so EF has to be equal to AB. That's the first thing. Second thing is, if I'm going to use Pythagoras theorem in ADE and BCF, if I'm going to use that Pythagoras theorem, I'm going to get that DE is equal to CF, which will be equal to under root of A square minus H square. Now this is very important, that these two are equal. So you will again observe that the two triangles are similar, or you can simply say they are congruent. Now since we discussed similarity, so we're gonna use the word similar itself. They are similar with the sides having ratio equal to 1, which means this angle D has to be equal to angle C, because the corresponding angles of a similar triangles are equal. Second thing is, this angle A will be equal to this angle A, and since this is 90, so you can simply say that the entire angle A will be equal to entire angle B. Okay, so these are the couple of things which changes when you come to an isosceles trapezium. Okay, let me do one more thing. Let me prove one more thing, that how the diagonals are equal. Let me do that for you. So let's talk about diagonal AC. If you use Pythagoras theorem in triangle AEC, you're gonna get AC square is equal to AE square plus EC square. And rather than taking CF and DE to be under root of A square minus H square, let me take this value equal to some value P. Okay, let me take this value just for the calculation purpose, so that you understand this concept. So I can say that your AC square will be equal to AE square, which is the height square, plus EC. Now EC here is made up of two things, EF and FC. So let's say EF is equal to some value B. This will simply become B plus P whole square. Okay, this will simply become B plus P whole square. And similarly, when you go for BD, so you can again say that BD square is nothing but BF square plus DF square. So BF will be equal to H square, and DF, we can again see that DF is made up of two things, DE and EF, that is again B plus P whole square. So you can see that for yourself that the two things are equal, that is AC square and BD square. Okay, so diagonals are also equivalent. These are the couple of things which changes when you come from a normal trapezium to an isosceles trapezium, and an examiner can ask you questions based on these properties. Alright, so that will be all as far as properties are concerned for a quadrilateral. Okay, this is a detailed explanation of each of the quadrilaterals. So we'll keep it till here for this video, and in the next one we're gonna solve a couple of questions based on these properties, and then you're done with this topic also. So thank you so much guys for watching the video. If you have any suggestion, any comments, any concerns, please do let me know in the comment box. So keep watching and keep learning guys. Thank you so much.